Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, July 7th, 2017, 7/7/17. And I'm coming to you from a farm in Missouri. Going to have a crop report. The crops are just all over the place. I'll tell you, explain more of that in a minute. I want to start with North Korea. I mean, here we have emergency meetings at the UN Security Council. Nikki Haley warns that the U.S. may have to go our own path on North Korea. Basically, she's chiding the Chinese and the Russians to go ahead and veto our actions. They want to try some sanctions. They want to try economic pressure, but this has all been tried before. This has been going on since the Clinton administration. But the new wrinkle is that the U.S. is going to really pressure China because they have this huge multi-billion-dollar trade deficit with the U.S., which could start a trade war. Of course, China has a big border. Russia also has a border with North Korea. Why is this coming out? Because they successfully launched an ICBM, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. And at some point, as the president said, they're doing very dangerous things. This will have to be dealt with. I don't think it'll be dealt with anytime soon, but when it is dealt with, if sanctions don't, do this, if China doesn't get pressured into making some headway with the North Koreans, 90% of their trade is done through China. China's the big stopper here. So, we'll see. But I don't think war is imminent. But if this doesn't work, with all the cannons and all the artillery trained on South Korea and Seoul, I can't imagine that if they do something, it won't be a pinprick. It'll be all-out disaster. It'll be an all-out war, an all-out, shock and awe to destroy, the North Korean army. I don't know what that'll entail. But right now, that's not an imminent threat. What is an imminent threat is this right here. I've been watching this in the Middle East. I'm shocked at how little this is attention is getting. A Qatar blockade to continue after Arab states slammed negative response to the ultimatum. I mean, they're asking Qatar to stop their helping of Hezbollah. They're asking them to stop with the terrorism. So other people say that this is really all about selling natural gas, and they have huge natural gas supplies. And I don't know. I mean, the U.S. has a military base in Qatar. Iran is throwing their support to Qatar. Turkey is throwing their support to Qatar. That's also, incidentally, Turkey, who's a NATO country, just said that the U.S., Erdogan said that the U.S. was basically fielding a terrorist army in ISIS. So what's going on in the Middle East is just absolutely off the charts crazy, and it's not getting much attention. Is war imminent? No, but it sure isn't going well. And it's just something that you should keep your eye on. I mean, those are two of the hottest of hot spots. And, between China and the Middle East, I don't know which is going to pop first. But right now with North Korea, they're going to try this diplomatic, sanctions, this kind of thing. But if it doesn't work, Nikki Haley is saying, we're going to go our own way. I mean, Donald Trump, when he's talking about, back to North Korea, he's talking about, they're doing a dangerous thing, and this will have to be dealt with. Well, I think it will. The question is, when? The thing in the Middle East is also being dealt with, and this is something that's really kind of outside of our sphere. I mean, the Arab states against Qatar, where we have a military base. Bahrain also with the Arab states against Qatar, where we have a Air Force base, a military base in Qatar. Then we have our Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. What a mess. And yet, this is all just kind of bumping along, and I don't see a lot of coverage. Here's another story that I think is huge. I've been harping about, what did the Russians do? What did the Russians do? They interfered in our election. What did they do? They released negative information about one of the candidates. Not according to, Assange, Julian Assange at WikiLeaks. They didn't get this from the Russians. And then we find out that President Obama knew about this in August. And, of course, Donald Trump says, well, he thought that Hillary was going to win, so he didn't do anything, about it. But, my question is, this is such a national security, a huge deal. Why in the world didn't they go get a warrant and get those servers? And here we have again another headline just came out, and this is a Washington Times, and just read it along. DNC server, most critical evidence to proving Russian hacking is being withheld from Mueller. Why? And here's the people, that third party that the DNC decided to get. I guess this is after they fired everyone. Perez fired everybody at the DNC. I think he's got a problem with, trusting people. CrowdStrike, this is their Russia hacking evidence is thin. Why don't they want to give up that server? Why didn't they just commandeer the server from the beginning? Why didn't they get a warrant? I mean, this is a huge national security thing. Why? Well, I guess we'll find out. I want to talk to you about this. I've been harping on Puerto Rico. And because, even people like Gunlock, again, saying the bond destruction is going to be tremendous. As rates go up, equity in bonds gets destroyed. Now, if you're sitting here in a bank and you're holding a big bunch of bonds and you think you have equity, and that's your tier one capital, that's what you're backing up all your stuff, and all of a sudden your bonds get cut in half. Things could go bad in a hurry, and here we have Illinois, risks rating cut to junk, even with their new budget, which they basically pushed through the Democratic-held legislature. The governor, who's a Republican, vetoed it, but they jammed it through for a 32% increase, and it's not enough. They owe $14.7 billion. They have $250 billion in pension liabilities. Only at that $250 billion, they only have about 40% of that covered. They have another $127 billion in bonds, and they can't even sell Powerball tickets. Or I think the biggest payoff, you get $25,000. I wouldn't trust that. But this is just one of many states that is hitting hard times. And they're going to have to borrow money. This budget includes just borrowing money, tons of money. And they're not going to get a cheapy rate. They're going to get an expensive rate, one of the most expensive in the nation of any state. And I still wouldn't trust them that you get your money back. What did Martin Armstrong says? Sovereigns, which is states, they're some of the worst. Why? Because they default and say, no, you can't take our parks. You can't come take our jobs. You can't come. They won't cut anything. They will not cut anything. New Jersey, they had a big budget deal, but they're still in trouble too. Connecticut, in trouble. Maine, in trouble. California, I think they have facing big problems. They won't cut anything. They won't cut anything. They just keep doing what got them in trouble, and that's borrow more money. They find themselves in the hole, and it's unbelievable. Same thing that's the reason why they can't get a deal with the Obamacare thing. They keep giving away free stuff. So, you keep hearing how good the economy is, and I think this is a danger. I mean, you have major states in trouble. They're this is the fifth, sixth most populous state, Illinois, in trouble. New Jersey in trouble. Here's another thing that I got off Shadowstats.com and John Williams. Keep hearing how good the economy is. Hey, not according to the real numbers. Second quarter 2017, real merchandise trade deficit remain on track for worst showing since second quarter of 2007. That was the last time we had a giant recession. Gunlock, the multi-billionaire, money manager and investor, is saying, the bond carnage is on its way. It's coming. And rates are going to rise. All the central bankers are raising rates. You keep hearing yelling, now we're going to raise rates. We think the economy is great. One theory, school of thought by multiple people, including Peter Schiff and others, say that, and also Danielle Booth, DiMartino Booth says, it's trying to destroy Trump. I mean, you've got raising rates, and they know what the economy is. It's going bad. Here in the Midwest, the economy's pretty good. I mean, wheat prices were way up because they've had some kind of drought up in the upper Midwest in North Dakota, South Dakota. But lots of rain, too much rain. The corn is anywhere from, this high, and they say belt high by the 4th of July is the old adage, to 8 feet tall. I mean, it's, this tall or replanted or beans or whatever. I mean, it's, the crops are all over the place, but the Midwest is doing well because of the agricultural component of the Midwest. On the coast, not so well. They say things are going great. I think the real estate market is peaking. I know we've had record highs in New York, but I think the real estate market is peaking. I think interest rates for mortgages is troughing. I think it's at the bottom, and I think they're going up from here. And I think there's going to be big, bad trouble for everybody involved. I'm losing the sun here. I just wanted to get this in, and I just wanted to let you know that things here in the Midwest with the crops, they're all over the place. We have corn being replanted this high. We have beans that were planted, after the corn failed, and so they have these 90-day crops. But we'll see. We will see. I'm losing my sunlight, folks. You see the hay in the background. These are big bales. They have yet to pick them all up yet, but love the country, love the country people, love Missouri, and love the agrarian society. Actually make something and export something, and that's the way that's going. But President Trump abroad, and it seems weird that Barack Obama is basically mirroring him around. He's in Italy. Trump's in Italy. Obama's in Europe. Trump's in Europe. Trump meets with Trudeau. Obama meets with Trudeau. I mean, they're calling that sedition. At any rate, thank you so much for supporting USAWatchdog.com with your comments and donations. That helps us out. And remember, fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all spiritually. Fear not. God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in charge.